Welcome to the Early Educator Podcast, where we talk about everything you need when it comes to growing your business, overcoming obstacles, and making an impact to not only children in your care, but to your community and your family. I'm Blake, and I'm here with Philip and Cinta Hester. They're the owners of Our Daily Bread. How's it going, everybody?
It's going great.
Yeah,
Pretty good?
Good.
Pretty
Yes,
good?
yes.
Yeah, doing pretty good too. It's pretty well. Of course, we know the Super Bowl was last night. Did you guys do anything special with Super Bowl or anything?
Absolutely nothing. Just relaxed and watch the game. No, didn't do anything special.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I like the halftime show. Halftime show was my era. I knew the music. I knew the words to the song. I was feeling it. I liked that. And the game was good. Although I was rooting for the Bengals. They lost, but that's okay. Titans are my team. If I need to disclose that or not, but I was just going for the Bengals.
Gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. I don't really watch sports too much, right? And so I've kind of hit this thing where it's like there's some kind of sports event or something. I'm like, instead of just like waiting around all day for it, I could just like go to sleep, wake up tomorrow, and I'll know exactly who won. I woke up, I was like, oh, they won. Okay, cool. And so I just went on with my day. But of course, it was just something I'm really, really looking forward to that I want to see it more. But
it is a lot less stressful that way, Blake.
Oh yeah,
when you have a vested interest in your own team, it can.
Oh yeah,
it is a lot less stressful.
That's true. Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess before we start, I guess the first thing I'll say, this is our first official episode, so that's awesome. It's really exciting. Yeah, really pumped. So I guess before we go into the actual topic, I guess the main thing I just want people to know that are listening potentially is our reasoning behind this in the first place, because for our company and like what we do, this is kind of out there for us. And I think our kind of motivation for doing this was just to kind of give our experience when it comes to like the business aspect of things and how it can potentially relate to providers and educators who are dealing with children. And we just want to help them grow and things like that. Because when it comes to it's like business in general, I've noticed like a lot of times when it comes to like struggles and successes, whatever, like a lot of times, no matter what you're doing in business, a lot of things can relate, to other topics. And so I guess that was kind of our motivation to do this. But yeah, you guys have anything to say about that at all? Kind of like the reason why we do this or whatever?
Yeah, I think now more than ever, a lot of educators are really struggling in so many different areas with rules and regulations, and of course now with COVID and dealing with staffing issues, and it's just good to put out some content that would help them to be better in their business and to help them overcome a lot of these struggles and challenges that they do have. And that is a part of who we are and what we do. We're advocates for child care educators, and any part that we can play to help them to be more successful, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. To come to the table and to talk about, to put things out there, to put issues out there that we're not talking about or that they don't hear people talking about, and to have a podcast or just an open arena for them to be able to come and listen, and to listen to maybe some of those topics that, like I said, are unspoken, and for them to be able to even to hear some ideas of things that they might not have even thought of. So hopefully they'll get that here.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick since this is the first episode, and some people might be interested in like what is this? Am I in the right place? Yes, this is for educators. Educators that run daycare homes and centers. It is for you guys, but this is just a different angle, probably an angle you guys don't hear about as much in this arena. So, but yeah, so I guess we'll just jump into our topic. So I guess this first episode, I really want to just kind of talk about um, team culture, or just culture in general. I kind of want to talk about that and talk about like what is culture? Um, yeah, what exactly is culture?
I think one of the things before you establish your culture, I think in any organization, you first of all have to establish some core values.
Yeah.
You, why are we here? Why are we doing what we do? What are our core values? What do we want to accomplish here? And your core values are going to guide your decision making. So your day to day, how you operate, and what you do moving forward has to be connected to your core values. And I think one of those things you have to define a mission. What is your mission and what is your vision for your business? And everything has to work within that mission or within that vision. Like in our organization, some of the things that are near and dear to us is our core values, like advocacy for child care educators. We also pride ourselves on program integrity. No gossip. We don't allow gossip to infiltrate our agency. We trust one another. At times, people are going to make mistakes, so you give grace where you can give grace. We support one another. We don't play the blame game. You don't, well, it's not my job. I'm not going to do that. So those are all a part of our core values. So you have to establish those core values first and foremost before you move toward establishing your culture. Now, let's don't get this confused. As far as a culture, every organization has a culture, and it's just what it is. It's either healthy or it's unhealthy, and you establish that by two different things that establishes that. In a nutshell, is what you create or what you tolerate defines your culture. Go ahead, Sid.
Can I say something about trust too? You always know that you have to earn trust. So, and within our organization, it's something that we definitely do within our organization. As far as when we bring or hire people into our organization, trust is something definitely that is earned, and we work hard to do that with each and every one of our team members. But like Philip said, everything he named, the integrity, the no gossip, the advocacy, all of those are important pieces, important parts that we hold really close and near and dear in our organization. And we live and breathe and die by all of those pieces that make up the values in our organization. So it's not just something that we put on a piece of paper and say, these are the things that we do. Those are the things we actually do. We live within our organization. And another piece that's really, really important within our culture is you have to have a heart for what you do within our organization. We stress that. We really, really stress and enforce that within our organization and within our team.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a really, really important piece.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this. Um, you mentioned you talk about culture is important. Do you guys think there was ever a time in the history of Our Daily Bread when you guys didn't have that culture aspect established? Was there ever a time where you're like you didn't really have that down, and how do you think that might have affected the company as a whole?
I can take it. For sure, yeah. There was definitely times when we didn't. When you start out with just a couple people, like Cinta actually started the organization, then I joined. I knew her, she knew me, and our personalities, our vision and our mission and everything was in line, and we understood one another, not a problem. But when you start adding people, that's when, not that that people say business is easy until you start hiring people. And it does become difficult only because you have to be able to manage those different personalities. It's not that people are bad. It's just that you have to start learning to manage those different personalities. And sometimes not everybody is in line with your mission or your vision. And as child care educators, you have to make sure that people have a heart for serving children and serving families first and foremost. They just can't show up, for a paycheck or to check certain boxes along their career. So there was a time absolutely when we didn't have a good culture because we had to learn to manage those personalities, and there was times when we needed to hire someone. We really needed someone, and I always say sometimes we were just looking for a warm body. I don't mean that to be facetious, but we were just saying, hey, okay, yeah, they're smart, they're kind, so yeah, let's hire them. We'll teach them to do the job. But a lot of that was mainly on my part because I didn't understand that we needed to develop and grow and cultivate a healthy culture. I was just more task oriented instead of thinking about how you bring all these people together and pieces of this puzzle together. So in '95, we started out just the two of us, and now we have a team of 25 people. So that's a lot of personalities to manage. But yeah, there was a time when we struggled with that, and it was a lot of challenges. But then once we developed those core values and we brought that culture right in with it, everybody knows that before you're hired here that this is our culture. And we take them through that. That's the very last interview that you do with our team. We're going to take you a deep dive into the culture, and we talk about our culture. So although as important as that was, a lot of times along the way when you're growing, you may just be thinking about, okay, let me find somebody to fill these positions, and you forget about the people that you're bringing in. And I want to say this. I firmly believe everybody that we have that's working in our organization today really wants to be here. I think that is a part because they understand our core values and they understand what our culture is.
Okay, so I guess hiring somebody is not just. I heard you say something too. You talking about like hiring like before each point trying to find somebody, but it sounds like hiring's not just like a task to do. Hiring is something where you have to be intentional from the get go about we need this kind of person who wants to be here and who can kind of who knows what our values are and who can kind of abide with that. Okay.
I mean, granted, some people they interview wonderful, and they know all the right answers, and they're very kind and very knowledgeable, and man, yes, I want to hire them. And then you look up 6 months later, and you're like, who is this person? You wonder like, how they get in the door. Why do they have a key to this place? I mean, and so because you didn't define what your core values were, and they didn't have a full understanding of what your culture was.
And I would say that we haven't always had such a lengthy list of core values, culture, that type of thing. And so when it really changed was when we realized the needs of our educators weren't being met in one way or another. We realized that we didn't have the team in place that we really needed to fulfill our, to ensure that the job that we needed was getting done. So we knew that then we needed a strong set of core values and to establish the culture that we needed.
Gotcha.
That's when it changed.
Gotcha. Cool. So how do you even go about figuring out like what your culture is going to be? Like, how do you even go with, you know, thinking like, okay, what kind of person do I want? What kind of person does my business need? You have any tips on that? How we can kind of figure that out? Because that can be tough for somebody potentially.
Well, for me, I knew that initially ethics was the strongest first thing that we needed. And I knew that that was the strongest value that I had. And so we knew that ethics, because ethics is, I mean, think about it when you think about from a business sense, ethics, morals, those two things you can stand on first and foremost for sure. And then you think and then you think about other things as far as okay, look at the list: integrity, advocacy. Advocacy was one of the core things that our educators need, and so when we sit down and we look at what is going to make our business most effective, what do our educators need? And so those are the things that we could sit down and we could come to the table and think about, and then you build you definitely build around that. That was one of the biggest things we could do, and then you could build upon that. But you look at what you need as a business. You look at instilled in us was ethically, the ethics, the morals, those types of things. And then what do your educators need? And you as a business person, you think, what do your consumers need? If you want to look at it that way. Yeah. So that's the thing you need. So what educators would look at is, what do my parents need? If they're building their business, they have to look at it from that point of view. And so they have a strong set of ethics, morals, values, those things. And then they go, okay, what do my parents need? We think of, what do the community need? And so that's how they build on that. That's how they can build their business on that. That's what they can stand on.
That makes sense. Oh, sorry, we can
go. So that's what I think. That's what we built it around. So as for educators, that's what they can build their strong foundation around.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Put themselves in their consumer's shoes and kind of think, okay, if I was this person, what would I need? What would help them the most? What would make them want to come to me over somebody else? That makes sense.
And that's what helped us eventually, because at first it was like we would hire people, and it's such a high turnaround when you hire people that are not a good fit for your organization, and that's a thing. It's not a good fit when you hire someone that does not have the same core values that you do. And so you want to look for people that are good fits in your organization. They will fit somewhere else, but not in your business or your organization.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I think yeah, those are really good points. And I think one thing too, we talked about this before with culture and stuff, and with having the idea of where you want your business to be. I think ultimately, it starts with you, right? If it's your business, your company, it starts with you, and it kind of comes to the point too where you like if you want to go to a certain level or be at a certain place, you gotta think, okay, well, as a company, it's your company, but understand that you are an employee of your own company. And so you have to think kind of, what kind of person am I? And am I the kind of person with the kind of work ethic that I would want to hire for my own company, you know? And so I think that's one thing too, is understanding that is the kind of person you are. And some of you guys be like saying yes, like that's the kind of person I would love to be. I'd love to have somebody here, and that's great. Then like base your culture off that. If you love who you are, base your culture off of who you are. But if you're saying, if you're being honest and you say, I don't know if I would, I'm not sure if I would, then I guess the next question would be, okay, what about yourself do you not like? I'm not always on time. I don't always like to do this part or that part, or whatever. It's okay not to do a certain part as much, but I mean, like if you find yourself lackadaisically doing a certain part and not getting it done, then maybe it's the best. I might want to think, okay, now I need to change that about myself. Then if I want this to be what my business is, then I need to change that about myself. Um, but yeah. Do you guys anything else to say about any of that or anything like that?
Yeah.
I mean, just for childcare educators, you have to just ask yourself, at my school, whether it's a in-home childcare facility or a 300 um, capacity childcare center, ask yourself, what is our purpose? Why are we here? Why did we establish this particular business? And what do I want it to be as the leader? Now, it's going to evolve. Things are going to change along the way, and that's okay. But, you know, to build your team and to have a healthy culture, you have to establish that. And if you don't, that you don't have a healthy culture right now, there's two things. I mean, it's a bad thing that you don't have, but the good news is you can change it. And that's just what you have to do.
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's who we're going to be going forward, and it's going to start with me, and it's going to start with our team from the top. Because you can fix it if not. But in some things, sometimes it's like anything else. You may have to do some pruning. Pruning hurts, but it does help growth. So, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's a conversation though. I think it's something. If you haven't thought about before, I think it's definitely something to take note of and to think about. But yeah, if you guys have anything else at all you want to say about culture at all? Maria?
That's a good conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I guess before we get off here, trying to think of the announcement we have. Well, I guess first of all, if you are a childcare educator, or that's how we say it, if you're a childcare provider, and you're looking for potentially an agency or someone to help you with your meal reimbursements or anything like that, feel free to check us out. We would love to have a conversation with you and help you if you're not with us already. You can go to odbcacfp.org, and there you can look on our website, and you can even put in information. We can contact you and then talk to you. Just kind of see how that looks. Yeah, we help educators every day with maximizing their meal reimbursements they feed their children, and so yeah, we would love to talk to you and help you guys out too. But yeah, I think that's about it. We thank you guys so much for listening to the Early Educated Podcast, episode 1. And hope you enjoyed this. And stay tuned for the next one. Be sure to follow this podcast so you don't miss anything else. And follow our social media pages, Our Daily Bread CACFP. See you next week.